Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. We are from Group 3 and today we will be presenting our case study for MPU 2232 Integrity and Anti-Corruption subject, which is our topic is the fake halal meat scandal in Malaysia. So before we start, this is our team members. Starting from me, I'm Dewi HALLIMAH and my team member CHONG, SITI ZASRAH, AMNE RASHID, NASIMUL AREFIN, PUTERI AMANI and Nur Al-HIDAYAH. So, this case is an important example of how corruption and the lack of integrity can affect the food safety and public trust. So, in this presentation, we will briefly explain the case and how it happened and how its impact on the society. So, let's begin with the introduction. First, the overview of the case scandal. The Malaysian meat cartel or the fake halal meat scandal is one of the most shocking food fraud crises in the country's history, erupting in the late 2020s when investigative journalists exposed a highly organized black market syndicate for nearly 40 years, and this cartel managed to infiltrate the national borders, systematically smuggling uncertified, unvetted frozen meat from overseas and funneling it straight into the local consumer supply. This case directly compromised the spiritual purity of the food eaten by millions of Malaysian Muslims, sparking intense public outrage and exposing major border security gaps and deeply shaking the public's trust in our national halal verification system. Next. So, this is the timeline and modus operandi of how the case started. So, for the first thing, in the 1980s, the cartel starts smuggling in unvetted meat, quietly bribing border officials to operate undetected for 40 years. So, in 2020, they discovered that the local media exposes the ring leading to a massive raid in Senai, Johor, seizing 1,500 tons of fake meat. And in 2021, the MECC committee arrests several corrupt government officers and corporate executives face official court charges for the trademark fraud. And in 2022, which is the present, the high-profile court trials and in heavy convictions forcing Parliament to introduce digital tracking reforms. The modus operandi started where its upstreams forgery, syndicates fake official halal certificates at foreign slaughterhouses before it shipped to uncertified livestock. Second one is the midstream bribery, shipments slip passport customs and quarantine checks by paying off corrupt border representatives or the customs. Third one is the downstream tampering. Workers mix the smuggled meat with genuine halal batches inside the local warehouse where they mix meat that are non-halal with the halal meats. And the last one, retail distribution, where the contaminated food is repackaged under counterfeit logos or fake halal logos and sold directly to unsuspecting citizens. Next. Now I will pass it to the next person, ZASRAH.
Thank you, Devi. Okay, I will explain about stakeholders involved. Okay, firstly, Muslim consumers were the most affected because they relied on halal certificate products and trust the halal logo when purchasing meat products. Second, JAKIM and other government agencies were responsible for halal certification, monitoring compliance, and ensuring halal standards were maintained. Third, custom and law enforcement authorities played an important role in investigating the illegal importation of non-halal meat and uncovering fraud activities. Fourth, importers, suppliers, and distributors were involved in sourcing, transporting, and distributing meat products throughout the supply chain. Finally, retailers and food business sold this product to consumer and were responsible for maintaining consumer trust and ensuring the products they offer complement with halal requirements. The fake halal meat scandal affected multiple stakeholders and highlighted the importance of strong cooperation, transparency, and enforcement to protect the integrity of nations' halal certification system. For next slide, I will pass to Nasimo.
Okay, thank you. So, the fake halal meat scandal was not an accident, it was a systemic failure. My section looks at why this happened. First, corruption. This was the foundation the syndicate spent years bribing officials at our ports, ensuring that illegal containers were never opened or inspected. Second, process gaps. We relied too heavily on paper certificates. The cartel simply forget these documents, making illegal non-halal meat look legitimate from the moment it left the foreign slaughterhouse. Finally, supply chain manipulation. Once the meat arrived, they used a blending method, mixing cheap non-halal meat with real certified stock and applied counterfeit labels because there was no robots and to end digital tracking, they were able to hide the operation for nearly 40 years. Ultimately, this was a failure of enforcement and integrity, where the cartel exploited the trust consumers place in the halal brand for their own financial greed. So now I am passing to my next member.
Okay, so can we move to the slide 11? Slide 11, please. Okay, so first let's look at the legal framework and relevant laws. So Malaysia has a comprehensive legal framework to regulate halal certification and prevent halal fraud. So these laws ensure that halal claims are accurate and protect consumer rights and maintain the integrity of the halal industry. So now let's move on to the Malaysian's halal certification system. Thank you. So first, the certification process begins with an application where manufacturers or importers apply from halal certification. Next is the document review where authorized track the ingredients, suppliers and production process. This is followed by a site audit during which inspectors visit factories and storage facilities to ensure they meet halal requirements. After that, the halal committee evaluates the audit findings before making a decision. If all requirements are met, the company receives a Malaysian halal certificate and is allowed to use the official halal logo. So finally, there's a continuous monitoring. Regular inspections are carried out and the certification can be suspended or revoked if the company fails to comply with halal standards. Next, I will pass it to the next person, L.
Okay, now I will talk about laws and ethical issues. The first one is trade discretion at 2011, and second is trade discretion certification and halal marking order 2011. Three is corporate liability, and the last one is dishonest or fraud. Okay, I will pass for my second first.
Okay, this is the my part impact government response. Firstly, effect SYASYA economy and public will be in different way. Two, can create both positive and negative outcome for society. Three, Parliament investigate issue and monitors their effect. Lastly, effective police load or program to manage the situation. Okay, next I pass to the Annie.
So I'm going to talk about the lessons we get. First, it strengthens halal supply. Second, chain monitoring to prevent fraud at every stage. It enforces stricter penalties for halal fraud and corruption to deter future offenses. It also implements digital halal traceability systems to improve the transparency and product tracking. It enhances cooperation among enforcement agencies for more effective monitoring and investigation. The last, it increases the public awareness and encourages the ethical practices to protect consumer trust and Malaysia's halal reputation. So I'll pass to the next. Next slide, please. Thank you, Annie. Okay. In conclusion, the fake halal meat scandal was a major issue that exposed weaknesses in Malaysia's halal certificate and supply chain system. The incident showed that strong halal regulation must be supported by effective monitoring, strict enforcement, and transparency throughout the supply chain. It also highlighted the importance of cooperation among governments, agencies, businesses, and stakeholders in protecting halal integrity. By strengthening enforcement measures and improving traceability, Malaysia can prevent similar incidents in the future and restore public confidence in halal certified products. That's all from me. Thank you.
That's all from all of us. Thank you for watching our presentation and we will see you again. Goodbye.